Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I also have another Sketchbook Doodles video for you guys, and I'm going to be showing you guys basically the first page of this new sketchbook. So I'm just showing you guys the comparison of my previous one versus my new one right now, and the only difference is that this one is blue and everything else is pretty much just the same. But yeah, so let's just jump right in. And as you can see, I already have the sketch done prior to filming this because I just want to make sure things just look correct. Because I actually struggled a lot trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the first page, but I just ended up doing a little gouache piece of Wonu, kind of with a game type of theme, just because I've been listening to their new album like quite a bit, and I've been listening to Game Boy a lot more than I thought I was going to. It's just like super upbeat, really cute, and just like good vibes overall. So like I've been listening to it so much. So why not draw Wonu kind of with a game theme? And yeah, as you can see, I used the palette Color ENO for the first sketch, and then after that I lighten the sketch with a kneaded eraser and then go in with a normal mechanical pencil and use that to do the cleaner sketch and prep it for painting. So as usual, I like to use my watercolors, which is mostly Holbein. If you have any questions about my watercolor palette, it'll be in the description, and I have a video of like most frequently used supplies where I go through basically in my palette, and there's like a little picture that shows every different paint that I have in my palette. And I like using watercolor just to prime the paper a little bit, but also to help me plan out where I want to place certain colors. I didn't really have like a specific color scheme to this, so while I'm doing the watercoloring phase, I'm kind of just like keeping a note, like a mental note in the back of my head, just making sure like I could find a color scheme that I would like. Now, most of Wonu's outfit is actually just like black, like different versions of black clothing. So I believe he kind of has like leather and then kind of like a fleece-ish cotton material for his jacket. And obviously he's wearing like a normal black t-shirt, black jeans or something like that. But I wanted to make sure that the background had more color just because he lacked color in his outfit. So I wanted to have more of like a teal circle with these little squares popping out from it that kind of resemble like little pixels coming out from the circles, and then I have more of a cyan or like cerulean blue on the right side. I wanted them to be different color, but I think in the end they look eerily similar, which kind of makes it look like I just messed up coloring them. But I wanted one to be more teal and the other one to be more like a almost like a baby blue, but my gouache mixing abilities is very poor, so I don't think I got the color that I wanted in the end. But I do like how this one came out. So I actually planned out a lot of different ones prior to ending up with this one. So the page was a little bit beat up at this point. Oh, also I added little bonbongi in the bottom left corner just because I wanted to fill up the space a little bit. I usually like adding stickers to the inside cover of my sketchbook, and I think the next time you guys will see my sketchbook, you might be able to see the stickers in there because I actually added the little stickers they used to seal the albums with, because I got my albums like a couple of days ago, so I decided to stick them in the sketchbook because I don't really like wasting cute stickers. So yeah, I just kept them in my sketchbook. So I probably won't add anything else to the inside cover of this one just because there's a lot going on already, so I don't want it to clutter it too much. So I'm using the HIMI MIYA jelly gouache as usual, and I'm using it to basically go over my watercolor and basically kind of finesse everything to be smoother, cleaner, and just like more flat like areas of color basically. I'm saying basically a lot today. Yeah, I feel like I haven't done like a voice recording in a while, so I feel a little awkward doing this. But what else to talk about? Oh, I kind of goofed, so I don't know if you guys can tell. So on the inside cover of the sketchbook, there's the first page, which is what I'm currently working on, which is like the right side. And then it's actually just one sheet of paper. So it's like glued to the inside cover, which is like on the left side, right? But I didn't know that the sketchbook, the first page is not stitched with the rest of the, what would you call it? What is it called when you have like a whole stack of different signatures together. Is it just a block of text? Is it a block, text block? So it's not with the rest of the text block, and I forgot about this. So when I went to work in my sketchbook a few days later, I opened it up and I creased the back with like the back of my thumbnail, and it was all good because I've done this before, but I guess when I tilted the sketchbook and I held the sketchbook with my left hand, the weight from the right side, because it has all the pages, is being weighed down so much that it just tore the sketchbook in half, and I'm just like, wait, how do I fix? So I tried gluing it back and it didn't work, so I just took packing tape and just like taped the inside so that the back side of this page is taped to the next signature, basically like the front side of the text block, and I guess that's what's holding up these sketchbooks. I forgot that that's how they do it. I've seen other ones where they actually do have the first page part of the signatures or like the text block itself, and then they glue it, but I'm sure they do this so that there's like maximum flexibility for the sketchbook, so it doesn't like so your sketchbook can open all the way, because the middle part, I think, is not like attached to the actual inside part of the sketchbook leather, if that makes sense. I think I'm like talking nonsense. I don't know anything about bookbinding. I have very like limited knowledge. I didn't do bookbinding when I was in VCD for a little bit, but yeah, I have very little knowledge of it. I just know, like, I've watched videos on it before, but I've never actually made like a sketchbook that requires you to have like a cover on top of your text block with all these different signatures and stuff, so like, ignore me. I'm just telling you that I ripped open the sketchbook because I wasn't careful, and I'm pretty sure most sketchbooks are like this. It's just that I was not careful while handling it. So if you do end up buying the sketchbook or you bought something similar, don't be worried about like ripping it open. It's just I was manhandling it. So for the painting portion, I kind of talked all over the painting process of the hair, but I had a lot of fun painting the hair. I wanted to have more of a warm to cool on the base of his hair, so I had more of like reds and pinks on the left side, which is closer to like the little hello thing on the inside, and then I had more blues on, like blues and greens on the other side, just to kind of add in more color to his hair because his hair is so dark. And I'm gonna try my best to add other colors into his jacket, I believe, and a little bit to his pants, I think, just to make sure that things aren't too monochromatic when I was painting his outfit. What else to talk about? I guess like I didn't really talk about why I like to do the front cover like this, I guess. In previous sketchbooks, I usually did some kind of like welcome page or do like some kind of first page, but I think it's like more recently where I did a hello and goodbye. I think it's like the last 3 sketchbooks I've done that I had a theme of the first page I have someone greeting you at the front, and at the last page I just have like a goodbye page, and I kind of want to keep that theme going. I think it's just kind of cute to start and end the sketchbook in a consistent way, kind of, but like still having the freedom to draw whatever I want. So I think in my previous sketchbook I had Masaki done very, like, I drew him very poorly in my opinion. It was done very roughly because of my, like, I didn't test the paper prior to working on it, and I didn't know that my favorite pen that I like to use does not draw in that sketchbook, so a lot of it started to transfer whenever I touched it with my hand or I closed the sketchbook. So I had to let it air dry for a little bit before closing it, as well as that the sketchbook's paper doesn't take watercolor in the same way as my previous sketchbooks. So this paper, as I talked about, kind of has these little speckles on it that aren't like, it's not like the actual texture of the paper. So if you rub your hand over the little speckles, they don't have a physical feeling. It's still flat. So I don't know what's causing it. I would be more capable of working with it and like leaving my washes as is if I knew it was just the texture of the paper, because of like maybe excess water is making the paper pill up. But because it's kind of, it seems like it's kind of random, so I can't really control it, and I hate if the speckling happens in like lighter colors where I kind of want a solid area, or in like areas of like the skin, just because it kind of muddies up the skin by having this weird texture. But if it's just there, if it's like throughout the whole thing and it's consistent, then I wouldn't mind. But the fact that it's not consistent kind of bothers me, which is why I like to work with gouache in these sketchbooks now. And I feel like that's kind of like the silver lining. So even though I can't use like my usual materials in the sketchbook, I've found other materials that I do enjoy working with. Like I pulled out some of my other pens and some of these ballpoint pens that are a little bit more juicier. They work well in the sketchbook, as well as using gouache. So I'm trying my best to get as familiar with gouache as I can compared to like previous attempts. I remember like, I think it's my Arteza sketchbook, I think was the sketchbook where I was like, I'm getting familiar with gouache. I found the style that like I like using gouache with, which is very much like a cell shaded looking style where I did only blocks of color, because when I previously attempted using gouache where I'm like constantly trying to blend and make things smooth, things just don't go right. And I think now I've embraced kind of like this more blockier looking style with gouache because I think it works with my style. And this is much more fun, like layering the colors in this way, because I do have some areas that kind of blend a little bit more seamlessly, and then I have areas that are definitely more like graphic, a little bit more like, you can see it like in his left shoulder, well, like the shoulder on the left side of the page, I guess. It's more just blocks of color to indicate like the shifts in like the lighting or the color, so it just looks clean this way, but also I get to paint a little bit more roughly if I can. And like learning how to mix colors helps me achieve a look I prefer, because if I'm just shifting the hue rather than the value, then I can definitely get some more variations within colors without having to focus on blending. So as you can see, when I was working with gouache to do the circles, I did switch brushes so that I had a larger brush to do the circle. I was having a hard time mixing enough paint, hence why I think the little nook between his arm and his jacket I've missed. And then the other circle, I just added a little bit more blue, which is why they look eerily similar, but like not the same, which kind of disappoints me. But yeah, had a lot of fun working on this one, and I think in the end I do Bonbongi. If not, I did him off screen, but I still think he looked cute. And yeah, it's just a simple way to incorporate kind of like a little game-esque theme. I would like to do more something similar like this, just because there's so many Who Alives that I could revisit and draw again, because I love their looks in there. And yeah, I'm just been really liking Game Boy a lot, so I would love to do like another illustration where it's just a hip-hop unit having fun with like some kind of video game theme, because this song's quite cute. But yeah, so I'm just adding extra little squares everywhere, and because the colors are quite light, I'm just waiting for them to dry, and then I'll go over them again and kind of make them a little bit more opaque, because some of them are quite translucent, especially on the black. Adding a little bit of a zipper, his little necklace, and then just some last highlights on the rest of his clothing. But yeah, I think I needed the little white dashes on his jacket. It just makes more sense, and I like the idea of making it pop forward. So I think it looks really cute. Oh, I actually left the line art for the last step for this, and as you can see, I kind of botched his face, but luckily, because this gouache is not acrylic gouache, I can just quite easily lift it off without having to mix new paint. And yeah, I think that's all I have to talk about. So yeah, hopefully we'll do a lot more sketchbook doodles videos in the sketchbook. I'm super excited to work in it. I haven't sketched a lot quite yet. I've only done like one page, not even a spread, and that was on the page where I ripped it out of the sketchbook by accident. So yeah, we'll see when's the next time I'll do another sketchbook video. But yeah, talk to you guys next time, and thank you very much for watching. Bye!